Could Lance Stroll actually leave Aston Martin? That's a question that seems to keep coming back. Every now and then there's another report or comment suggesting that Lance could leave Aston Martin if the team's performance doesn't improve. And this time around, Juan Pablo Montoya has reportedly been talking about that possibility again. Now I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that Lance is leaving. I don't have any inside information, and I'm not claiming to know what's going on behind the scenes at Aston Martin. I'm just looking at what's being reported like many other Formula One fans and giving you my opinion. And personally, I find it difficult to see Lance leaving Aston Martin while he still wants to race in Formula One. The obvious reason is Lance Stroll. Lawrence is the leading figure behind the consortium that owns the Aston Martin Formula One team, and Lance has been part of that project for a long time. So to me, there's a pretty big difference between saying Lance could leave Aston Martin and saying Lance is actually going to leave Aston Martin. Could he leave? Of course, anything can happen in Formula One, but do I think he's going to be told that his time at Aston Martin is over because the results aren't good enough? I'm not convinced, and we've heard versions of the story before. It keeps coming back, particularly whenever Aston Martin is struggling for performance, but Lance remains there. And that's why I think the bigger question is whether Lance himself ever decides that he wants to do something different. Maybe one day he'll decide he wants a new challenge. Maybe he decides he doesn't want to race anymore. We simply don't know. But if Lance wants to continue in Formula One, I think Aston Martin is pretty safe bet for him. Now, that's my opinion. I'm not presenting that as inside information or as a prediction of what's definitely going to happen. I don't know Lance. I don't work for Aston Martin. I know some people who work there, but I don't have some secret line into the team giving me information about Lance's future. I am just a Formula One fan looking at the same reports that you guys are seeing and thinking, really, is Lance going anywhere at the moment? I just don't see much reason to think he is, but maybe I'm wrong. That's the great thing about Formula One. Things can change very quickly. So what do you think? Do you think Lance Stroll could eventually leave Aston Martin if the team performance doesn't improve? Or do you think he'll remain there for as long as he wants to race in Formula One? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching, for subscribing, for liking the video, and for all the support. If you want to support the channel a little bit further, there are some links in the description, but absolutely no pressure. And if you want to watch some more of my Formula One content, have a look at some of the other videos on the channel. Thank you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.